Hello everybody, my name is Mark and this is Why I Hate the World. How you guys doing? So I think I'm not the only person out there who's in a state of post-Trump electoral shock right now. It took me the better part of a day to kind of come to terms with the fact that this guy is going to be the president. So one thing I am seeing out there a lot on the news and in different videos and things is kind of a sort of a post-mortem on why Hillary Clinton lost. And I'm seeing a lot of blame getting thrown around. People are trying to blame third parties, Jill Stein, trying to blame Gary Johnson. They're blaming the system, the electoral system. They're trying to blame the media. They're especially blaming the FBI and James Comey, for his releasing his press release saying that the email thing is still being investigated and stuff like that, and then coming back the day before the election and saying she's clear and all that. No doubt that also had an effect on the election, but I can understand why everyone's wondering why, because the polls said she was going to win. In fact, the polls for the last 3 months said she was going to win. In fact, there was only really one time, which was roughly after the Republican convention, that Trump even overtook her in the polls. And in pretty much every single poll, she was ahead by, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. In fact, a few weeks before, about 2 weeks ago, she was ahead by 12 points, So, yeah, I and everyone else thought she was, she had this thing in the bag. In fact, it's pretty safe to say that even Trump and the people in the Trump camp thought he was going to lose. That's what all of that, the polls are rigged shit is about. Funny how he's not saying the polls were rigged now that he fucking won, but so it makes you think, well, why did she lose then? What was it? What happened, right? And was it the media? Well, they certainly contributed to a Trump win, by giving him, hundreds upon hundreds, if not thousands of hours of free, media time. That's something that you've probably seen, how he's gotten like $5 billion in free advertising or some shit like that, just because he's been on like every single, TV show, every single news show. CNN would do shit like, they'd show like an entire Trump rally, like in its entirety. In fact, they would show the empty podium before he even came to even before he was even there, and it would be breaking news, Trump rally, and then an empty podium. Certainly Fox contributed to that, like he was on, Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly, giving him tons and tons of free airtime and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe that contributed a little bit. The media obsession with celebrity, right, definitely contributed, which is funny because if I remember right, in 2008 and in 2008 and 2012, that was one of the criticism against Obama, was that he's a celebrity, right? It's like, yeah, that's funny. Republicans don't give a shit about that when their guy's a celebrity. Anyway, but, I think more than any of this, more than the media, more than the FBI, more than, or any of that, I think the people that we really need to blame for Hillary losing are the Democrats, as in the left. We should blame the left, because the reason she lost is because we couldn't get the left behind her. We couldn't get enough voters, right, to get behind her and go vote for her. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you had a lot of very disaffected Bernie Sanders voters who saw that their guy didn't win for one reason or another and basically just refused to vote for Hillary Clinton. And so the vote was split on the left, and it wasn't split on the right, Now, I thought that, because seeing how Trump's kind of troubled road to getting the nomination sort of mirrored, that from the opposite end, I kind of thought that there was a lot of division on the Republican side too, but they managed to pull it all together, and the number of never Trumpers was small enough that it didn't seem to matter, right? I mean, I thought that there was going to be more dissension and more people not voting for him because of like Ted Cruz and shit like that. But in the end, they came together and they got their people out, and they all decided to vote for their candidate. We on our side didn't vote for our candidate. That's what happened. And I think what happens is that because people are kind of complacent now, right? We've had 8 years where things have gone generally pretty good. I don't know if you guys remember back in 2008, but shit was hitting the fan when Barack Obama took over. The economy was melting down. We were losing thousands of jobs every month. We were in 2 wars at the same time. With no like exit strategy. Right, people's houses were getting foreclosed on. Right, the dollar lost 25% of its value. All of this shit. This is what Obama inherited from the Bush people, right, and has been basically spending the last 8 years trying to fix. And I think he's done a pretty good job. We've had something like 89 consecutive months of private sector growth. I mean, that's unheard of. Of course, coming from such a low point, it'd be hard to not have that. We've managed to draw down the wars a little bit. We still are involved in both of those places, but not with, the amount of boots on the ground. It's more drone strikes now, but which I think is pretty much the only thing that he possibly could have done, right? As far as handling disasters go, Obama's done a pretty good job, and let's not forget all the other things that he has accomplished, gay marriage, the Iran nuclear deal, opening up Cuba, gay rights in the military, legalizing marijuana. That's another thing too. See, people don't understand that the only reason that marijuana is legal is because Obama directed the DEA to not shut those places down. I said that in my last video, right? These are all things that we've accomplished in the last 8 years, and people, I think, are a little complacent, thinking that, okay, well, I can afford to protest vote, number one, or I can afford not to vote, especially when you see in the polls that it looks like your candidate, the left candidate, the Democratic candidate is going to win anyway. So that's what I think would happen. They go, okay, well, I don't like the way the DNC treated, Bernie, right? I don't like the way that they colluded against him, whether you think they actually did or not, but it appears that the DNC did, favor Hillary. I mean, that's an understatement. So people seeing that, they're going, well, I don't like how they kicked out the progressive candidate, and she's going to win anyway, so I'm not going to vote for her, right? And that's basically what happened. That's why she lost, all right? And, more so, because all these other things did contribute to, okay, the FBI leak thing, WikiLeaks, all that shit, all of that did contribute to dragging her down. Personally, I think she probably would have won if it wasn't for the FBI thing, but what are you going to do? That's a subject for another video. But, more so than anything, it was just that inability to unify, behind the candidate, which led to a Trump win. And that's the other thing, is that because now people are starting to realize what's going to happen, right? Because it's not just Trump becoming president, it's the Republicans are going to own both houses of Congress, right? And now they're going to have the Supreme Court as well. And now people are going, holy shit, we really should have went out and voted, right? People on the left are the people who protest voted, the people who didn't vote, right? Because they couldn't hold their nose enough. Now they're seeing why they should have held their nose, right? And, this is something because, this is what you should have done. I mean, and to be honest, I kind of had a feeling that this was going to happen. I mean, if you look at political cycles, it's very rare to have a 2-term president followed by, the same party, right? That happens very, very rarely going back in history. I mean, it happened once after the Reagan years, not very much after that. Usually it's 8 years of one, 8 years of another, right? So I kind of had a feeling that, yeah, Trump was going to win this time, right? I didn't want to. I don't know. I mean, the polls were telling me the other way. So, maybe we need to kind of investigate why the polls were so wrong. But anyhow, so yeah, let this be a lesson to all of you out there. All of you people out there on the left, the Democrats, right? Who next time when you're like bitching and moaning that the guy you wanted didn't get it, and you're going to take your ball and go home. You got to think about the consequences of these things. If you're okay with the Republicans running all three branches of government, right? If you're okay with that, then that's fine. Don't vote, right? But this is what, just keep in mind, like, this is what happens when you don't vote. This is what happens when people don't vote. We get very, very shitty leaders, right? And I think the next 4 years are going to be very interesting, as there's going to be a lot of gnashing of teeth as the Republicans, not just Trump now, right? Because you got to remember, it's Congress, it's the Supreme Court, as they systematically dismantle everything we spent the last 8 years trying to achieve, right? That's what's going to happen. And I think there's going to be a lot of protests. And, my hope now for the future is that people get pissed off enough so that when the midterms come around, we manage to take back the, Congress or the House or something. That's what I hope, right? If that happens, we might be able to salvage some of Obama's legacy. We might actually be able to, keep the country from imploding, right? We might be able to salvage healthcare and save the environment, But I don't know. We'll see what happens. So anyway, adios, folks.